just a prediction. We may see some new technologies developed in 2017 that will start not necessarily taking place of some of the other social media and some of the other digital platforms, but enhancing them, or maybe just an additional avenue to be able for people to be able to market their goods and services.
So what type of digital are you thinking is going to?
Probably something to do with social media,
yeah.
And I think maybe more interactive digital. I mean, if you look at how more and more automobile companies are having interactive digital platforms inside their cars, and more of that's going to start moving toward the houses and toward homes and even in offices now. I really think that I think it's probably, we've barely scratched the surface of how that digital interactive format when it comes to people being able to market goods or services, that there's going to be new ones come along all the time, which is going to keep marketing people on their toes, obviously.
Yeah. Increasingly having to adapt type of thing, or I mean, are marketing people starting to get a hang of it at this point?
Well, I think they're getting a hang of the platforms that are there now to some extent, but I think that they're constantly being refined. And if you look at people like Google, they constantly change their algorithm, or Facebook can change their algorithms daily, and Google changes the way that they're gathering data and disseminating data, that good marketing people have to adapt to that on a constant basis or you get left behind.
Sure.
I'm not saying that old tried and true ways, like when I was a kid growing up, that you still can't use mass media and other forms of marketing, but I just think that really good smart marketers, whether it's business to business or business to consumer, have got to be in very up to date in the digital age.
Well, let's shift to franchise talk. That's Big Whiskey's has been franchising lately. How many franchises do you have now?
We have
the two?
We have 2 done, but we're on the verge of another 5 or 6 within the next few weeks.
And your franchises are in Kansas City and Northwest Arkansas?
Northwest Arkansas, Bentonville, Arkansas. I was with him all day yesterday,
Yeah.
helping him put his marketing plan together.
How many stores do you guys have now?
We have 5
5
today, but there'll be more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, just speaking generally in franchise, retail, restaurant in Springfield, what's the picture looking like now, and what do you see in 2017? Is there going to be more franchises, or I mean, what are we going to see?
That's a good question, Jeff, because if you read the trades and if you follow trends and if you believe those trends and trades, then it appears that the consumer is moving away from typical big chain franchising and more local shopping when it comes to restaurants and retail, especially in the restaurant business. Everything I read in Nation's Restaurant News and restaurantnews.com says that the bigger chains are suffering more than the smaller local places like what Big Whiskey's is and other local places here. And that's just not, obviously not just Springfield, but I mean across the country, that's sort of what the trend is. I think that as it is with any business, the cream rises to the top. The good franchises that are out there, we're competing against this. We're trying to sell franchises where there's 100 other restaurant franchises out there, and there's probably, more than that. Yeah, way more than that, and probably 50 or so that are casual dining ones. The real cream rises to the top. A lot of them are copying each other. The good ones will survive, the bad ones won't. And so, how franchising is going to affect Springfield? I mean, there's Dunkin' Donuts moved here last year. Smoothie King's back, like you said. Springfield used to be a training ground, testing ground for franchisors. I'm not quite sure that it's that way so much anymore. Probably there'll be a few that will move in, but I think if you see where some of the franchise growth in the big restaurants, a lot of them are already saturated.
Sure.
And a lot of them are starting to close down. What happened to Ruby Tuesdays here? Where they close all but one? Yeah.